Welcome to another edition of Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. A.G. Green Sr. Welcome. You know what to do, family, as you come into this place. Tag and share, share and tag and share and tag and share and tag. We're so delighted and excited, I should say, excuse me. We are double delighted, that is true. To be with you yet another time, another place where we can share powerful, transformative truths with you. Come on into this digital place, this digital assembly, this digital conclave. There is some powerful and wonderful things that we are going to share with you on this particular evening. We consider ourselves to be blessed and favored to have this time with you. Tag and share and tag. Make sure you speak as you come into this digital assembly, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Let us know that you're here and let us know that you are ready to get excited and engage with what we're going to be discussing tonight. Tag and share and tag. And of course, you can even text if you so desire. We got a special guest with us, and we're about to get into it in just a few minutes. Good evening, Charlotte. Good to see you all tonight. Good evening, the resident therapist, Pastor Cotton. Good evening to you and to everybody in our spiritual community. Good evening, Chrissa. Good to see you on. Let's continue to invite more people in. I'm getting ready to pray. Almighty, we just thank you. We're so grateful for this opportunity to share these principles and these nuggets. Lead us and guide us. Your will is done in us, with us, through us, even as us. And we just bless you and praise you for the dissemination of this information that's going to grow and expand and increase people exponentially. We are so thankful and grateful in this moment. It is so, and so it is. Again, we're so glad to have you on with us. Thank you for tagging and sharing and tagging. We always like to remind you to follow us on the various social media handles that you see at the bottom of this particular screen at AG Green Now on all of the major social media sites. Join us. Also want to remind you that we have a wonderful podcast that is about to launch, and that podcast is called The Divine You podcast. I want you to make sure that you continue to stay tuned to our channel so you can see exactly when it's going to be released. I pray that it empowers the world. It'll be available on all social media platforms. All right. Again, we're so excited and delighted to be with you here on today. Now, I always like to remind you that you're made in the image and likeness of an omnipotent, all powerful being. That doesn't make you powerless, it makes you powerful. So I want you to type in the comment section, I am powerful. While you're typing it in the comment section, I want you to own it. I want you to speak it out loud in your environment. Come on, type in the comment section, I am powerful. Come on, type it in the comment section with faith and feeling. I am powerful. Come on, that's it. Type it in the comment section. I am powerful. Yes. What a wonderful thing it is to walk in the power, to possess the power, and to be aware of the power. You have the power to change situations and to change circumstances. Now to them that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think. It's what? According to the power that worketh in us. Own the power, feel the power, recognize the power, embrace the power. Know that this power is available to you. Again, we are glad to be in your presence, glad to be in your midst on tonight. And we want you to prepare your hearts and minds for what we're getting ready to share with you on this particular night. Check in real quickly. How y'all doing? They call this hump day. So tell me real quickly, family, how you doing? How you doing? How you feeling in this moment? This is a subjective opinion, and we don't judge anybody based on their opinions. And so tell me real quickly, how are you doing? How you feeling in this particular moment? I'm just curious to know. I always like to check in with y'all to see exactly how you're doing and how you are feeling. Talk back to me. Talk back to me. Let me know how you're doing and how you are feeling. Real quickly, I just want to know how you're doing and how you're feeling. I like to make sure that everybody is uh, doing as well as they possibly can. But I want to hear from you how you're feeling right now. Uh, whether it's you think it's been good, challenging, or otherwise. Let's see here. Miss Hillary says, retired after a great day. MLK Day has had me thinking it was Tuesday all day. Awesomeness. It says, brother, I'm peaceful, still on 10. Yeah, peaceful, awesomeness, awesomeness. Anyone else want to share how you are doing in this particular moment? And Krista says, a little tired, but I'm good. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing those kind words with us on tonight. We have a powerful subject that we're going to share with you as we are shifting into better versions of ourselves to develop a new mind for a new year. We're going to have to discuss with you, as a part of that shift, how to change our eating habits. And when we change our eating habits, it has spiritual, psychological, and of course physical benefits. And the title of our show tonight is To Eat or Not to Eat. To eat or not to eat. And so we're getting ready to bring on a guest who is well qualified to talk to us about how we should and should not eat, things we should incorporate into our diets, so forth and so on. And I am excited, honored, and privileged to bring to this platform my brother, uh, bring to this platform a very qualified professional in this field. And I'm excited and delighted to have Andrew Green with us on tonight. Come on, let's show him some love in the chat. A certified herbalist and, of course, eating and life coach and so forth and so on. He's also the author of a new book that we'll be talking to you more about. So if you want to be vegan-ish, easy recipes, step-by-step recipes for the new and curious vegan. All right? That's it. The love is coming through in the chat. The love is coming through in the chat for you. And so, all right. How you doing, Andrew?
Hey, hello, good evening. Buenos noches. I am doing well. Well, how about you?
Awesome, awesome. Now, I need to do a check. Can you see us and hear us well? Let me know if you can see us and hear us well. Let me know if you can see us and hear us well.
So,
Let me
Cuzzo.
know if you can see us and hear us well. All right, all kinds of love coming through in the chat tonight. So glad to have you with us tonight. How you been? How you been, Andrew?
Well, as the saying often goes, complaining won't do any good. So, I rarely ever do any of that. So, I've been doing good. The doing my prayers, of course, meditations, mirror work. That mirror work, and joke by the way. Pastor Cuzzo JC. What was that? Was that last week? Week before last? Yeah. That have been talking to us about that. I have been doing that because I learned about it from somebody else. So when he mentioned it, I was like, okay, let me make sure I do it and stay on it. run in the bathroom, and I can get so excited and so hyped, and till sometimes I get so emotional I start to cry because it feels so real to me. The things that, so just the quick way, I should say, of answering your question. I'm doing good, believing for more and for better.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And as I mentioned to the crowd tonight, you have a book out. As a matter of fact, I'm encouraging everybody on here when we get to that point to that part to buy a book. We usually have a few more on, and hopefully some people will jump on later. And if they come in, encourage them to tag and share. But I'm going to encourage everybody who's watching me tonight to purchase a book to help Andrew get a kickstart with this new book he's put out. So let's get into it, Andrew. Let's get into it. We got a couple of questions for you tonight, and I'm encouraging the audience who's watching me to be thinking of some questions in your heart and mind that you would have for Andrew. This field that he's in is a very, very vast, curious, and even a controversial field, but there's a lot of powerful truths that's a part of the genre that he is a part of that pertains to us personally in terms of our health, the things we should eat, so forth and so on. So I just kind of want to begin with what inspired you to become an herbalist and eating life coach, Andrew? What
Well,
inspired you to do that?
that's a very good question. Actually, in the book, I touch on that, um, speaking about where it actually goes back to. Um, and I don't know if I exactly said this part, but I always, um, when it came to health, um, and seeing people sick and in pain, even as a kid, little boy, I could always recall how that affected me, how it bothered me, to the point to where sometimes I would cry because I hated to see people sick. I hated to see people in pain. I hated to see people suffering and struggling. And I'm still like that to this day. Um, and I had aspirations, even on the medical side, which I didn't pursue, but I meet people in the medical field even to this day, and having conversations with them, they can just hear it and sense it, and they keep encouraging me. You should do it. You should do it. You will be so good. I think it's just something natural for me. But it started back then, and as time fast forwarded, I can vividly remember in about 2004, um, I started reading and learning more about it, becoming a student, of the game, if you will. Because I used to have conversations with Daddy all the time about health and wellness. I was actually speaking to one of my bonus sisters, Valencia, and she was asking me about how I got started with how I got started even with using natural deodorants. And it was Daddy. He was the person that first introduced me to that. And so ever since then, I've been using it. And I've been using that for about 20 years. But I got into it simply because I really felt a pull to it and a passion for it. And the conversations just kept coming up and kept coming up. And I knew I just had a natural inclination as it pertained to healing and helping people in that area.
Okay, so you had an empathy for people who were sick, and of course there was a fatherly influence as well on this journey. So, can you share your personal journey with holistic health and nutrition, your own personal journey that you're on with that?
Yeah, I can. Uh, you mean as far as where I am right now?
Yes, as far as your lifestyle, the things that you practice in terms of eating and other things that go along with
Okay. Well,
that.
I eat.
And when did that start for you? So tell us when it started, kind of when you shifted, and the lifestyle that you're living today.
Well, I've been a label reader for years. One of our cousins, Chris Yancey, said he noticed that our family is like that. His mama was the same way. That would read labels when you purchase food, which is a perfect segue for me to throw this nugget in here. When people go into grocery stores, and maybe we'll pick it back up, labels. I want to talk about that later. But I was always reading labels because I was curious as to what was in the foods that we were eating. And as time progressed and I started doing more research and I started learning more about these labels and the things that were in our foods, that's when the light bulb really started to come on even more. And I started to read about different illnesses that people were getting. And I started reading how when they changed their lifestyle, their diet, how their health began to improve. And, you know, Daddy and I had a conversation. I remember this conversation. It had to have been in about 2008. I remember sitting on the parking lot of a Walmart, and we were talking about a woman who is at the time was a doctor, and she had been diagnosed with cancer. I think she had like stage 3. So she said she was not going to do any of the treatments, the traditional treatments. So she healed herself simply by the foods that she started to eat, the things that she took out and the things that she put in. And so having that type of conversation, that sparked me even more and intrigued me even more to do further research. So speeding up time in about, and I remember a couple of years before that, it was 2006, 2007, when we had a church fast there at the time, Raymond Word, and I took out, of course, we were on the Daniel fast. When the fast was over, I went back to try to incorporate some of those meats into my diet. I remember going to this restaurant, I never forget it, BG's, and I had me a huge salad, a chef salad with chicken and turkey and beef in there. And I was getting ready to chow down. I think I got to about the second bite and I started to feel pain. I did not understand what in the world was going on. So I waited and I tried to eat it again and the same thing again. I said, wait a minute. So I ended up talking to Daddy about it. And he said, well, your body is telling you what it does not want. So you need to listen to it. And so I took out the beef and I ate the chicken and the turkey, no problem at all. Then I tried to eat some pork, terrible. When I tried to eat those, especially with the beef, it literally felt like I was in pain, like somebody was clawing me from the inside out. I think I mentioned this in the book, but it felt like somebody had claws and just clawed me from the inside out. It was excruciating pain. So back in 2007 is when I stopped eating beef and pork. And fast forwarding to about 2017, I was eating, sitting down in about November of that year, because we were coming up on another fast. And so, you know, I was like, well, I'm going to gradually try to wean myself. But I was eating some chicken, some good chicken, some chicken wangs with an A. That's how good it was. And right in the midst of eating that chicken, I very plainly said, I'm so tired of chewing this meat. I just said that literally out loud. Why am I still chewing this meat? I was just tired of it. And I stopped cold turkey. And I never went back. Never went back. And that's how the journey ended up starting. And with the beef and the pork, when I removed that, I noticed how much better I felt. Because at the time I was doing a whole lot of typing and my hands were hurting. So when I removed the beef, my hands stopped hurting. That's what Daddy was telling me. Your body is telling you that it doesn't want it. So listen to it. So I did. I noticed how much clearer my mind was, my memory was. I noticed how much more energy I had when I left those things alone. And what happened one time, I didn't know I ate some food that somebody gave me that had some of that in there, and it instantly I got sick and my hand started to hurt. And so I knew what it was that I had been eating, that whatever it was that was in there. So I had to go lay down, and I obviously couldn't finish my meal. But ever since 2017, I started weaning myself. The last thing on my list was eggs. So I took eggs off of my list, and I see the to eat or not to eat because I was in a Zoom with a doctor. He was, what was his position? He was the chief in Cook County in Illinois, Chicago area. He was a chief resident or doctor, something to that regard of the county. And I was in a Zoom with him with some business partners at the time. And he, yes, and he said it. He said eggs are often very hard for people to give up. It's an easy to cook item, and it's a very tasty item, and you find it in so many different things. But what I found out is that it um, it affects negatively the microbiome in the gut, which is it causes inflammation and it throws your gut off with digestion. You know, the immunity part of it. It throws it off because when you have inflammation in your gut, which is where most of your immune system and your health lies, then you can start to have other problems that occur. So when he said that, I immediately cut that off. And the reason it took me so long, and I saw Hillary's comment, it wasn't just because eggs were so good, but it's because I found out we have, at the time I found out, which is still here, a St. Louis style fried rice. And if anybody knows about St. Louis style fried rice, you already know you got to eat it like it comes. So I couldn't see myself not eating my fried rice without eggs. So, but when he told me that, I said, all right, I'm just going to have to try it. It's just going to have to be fine. And I found a way around that thanks to Tabitha Brown. So eggs were the last thing that I took off. So when I took the eggs out, I was a full-fledged vegan at that point. And I believe that was 2017.
Okay. So repeat that, what you said that you learned that eggs do.
It causes inflammation in the microbiome, biomes in the gut, which is where your immunity is, your immune system lies. And so if you and you have tiny little villas in there, not to try to be too scientific, and if where your food passes through as it goes through digestion, if you have too much inflammation going on in there, then obviously you're going to start to end up with digestive problems. You got too much inflammation, you can end up with irritable bowel syndrome, all kinds of things that happen that will cause you excruciating pain. So, and when you have inflammation that happens like that, then you can start having a domino effect of other things that take place. But the truth is that I would rather let something go no matter how good it tastes, especially if it's going to benefit me health-wise.
So we know that there are different kinds of vegans. I mean, the category is broadened now. Ethical vegans, dietary vegans, environmental vegans, raw vegans, whole food vegans, fruitarian vegans. Which category would you consider yourself to be in as a vegan?
Well, I'm not a raw vegan because everything that I eat is not raw. I do incorporate raw in there. Some things that I do, and I try to eat minimally processed things. You know, I do my best to stay away from cans and boxes. But I get everything that's either fresh or something that may be frozen and or refrigerated. So I consider myself it would be more of the classic vegan, which is a perfect segue. I'm glad you asked me that question because some people often ask the question, even when I go somewhere and I ask them, is this vegan? And they would say, oh yes. It's vegetarian. It has no meat. So I say, well, does it have dairy in it? Well, yes, it has dairy. It's vegan. No, it's not vegan because vegan has no meat. It has no animal byproducts, dairy and or even cheese or even a broth that comes from an animal is a byproduct, which would make it vegetarian and not vegan. If there's no meat in there, vegetarian. If there's a byproduct of an animal, vegetarian. But if it has none of those things in there, then that would make it vegan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Learn something there tonight. So if it has none of those byproducts or something that is directly a meat, it is considered vegan at that point. Is that what you said?
Yes, no dairy or no animal product of any kind, which brings me to the next thing, even what you said to eat or not to eat. Um, and I don't know how many vegan people would know this, but even if you're not vegan, it would still be good information as it pertains to sugar. Sugar, if you look on labels, sometimes you'll see it say bone char or no bone char, and that's because when they make sugar, they actually have animal bones in it that are ground up down into like powder form or dust form, and they mix in with the sugar. So when you're eating white sugar, you actually have bones in your sugar. So you would not want to eat traditional white sugar as a vegan.
And you would have what in the sugar?
Bones. Yeah,
Bones, really? Now, where do
yeah.
those bones come from?
Animals
In sugar?
in white sugar
In white sugar. Now, how's that possible?
because they grind it up. It's charred.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's go here. I thought sugar is from sugar cane.
Sugar is from sugar cane. You have cane sugar, which is a light brown sugar, and then we go back to the other things that you asked me about. It has you have light brown sugar, which is the cane sugar, because sugar is not um, naturally white. Sugar is naturally a light brown color.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get the white sugar that's gone through a process to make it white, the other process that it has is charred bones that's in it. I'm and I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if that's used as a filler of some sort, but nonetheless, it's actually in there, which is why on labels you will see some sugars that will say not, that is not charred, and they say that to let you know that there is no bone in the sugar.
Okay. That is very, very fascinating. Go ahead. You wanted to bring up something else we wrote.
Well, I think you were asking me what it is that I typically eat. Did you ask me that?
Yeah. So, what's
Yeah.
since you described what you did, and then we want to segue from here into talking about just picking out a few meats. Maybe we'll talk about after you express yourself here, respond here. Pork. We're going to talk a little bit about pork and some of the things associated with it, and then maybe we'll pick out some other things in our diet, carbs and junk foods, and kind of what makes them unhealthy. Okay. But as far as what your lifestyle is like, tell us a little bit about what your lifestyle is like in terms of the things you eat and don't eat. And let me interject this. I know I'm saying a lot. I also want to know your personal testimony of how this lifestyle change has changed your health, how it's impacted your health, your mind and your health. Go ahead.
Well, in a typical day, I eat a lot of obviously being vegan. I eat a lot of beans, legumes, lentils, peas, brown rice, particularly black rice, wild rice. I eat a lot of grains and different things like that, which, if you go back in history, before people started killing and eating animals, that's what a lot of the things that people were eating. They were eating different things like that. Um, with, and if tying it in as far as eating and what I eat and what we should eat. Thinking about the trees being for the healing, the leaves of the nation. That's just not as we think, but it also has to do with the foods that actually grow up out of the ground. You know, uh, um, but I digress because I could go on another road with that. But I like today, I had some white beans that I made. That recipe is also in my book, and I had it with some rice. In other words, I make like instead of going to a restaurant and getting like your rice bowl, you can make your own rice bowl at home. So I often do that. Excuse me. That's what I have. I eat that a whole lot. I eat greens, green beans, black eyed peas, lentils. Um, I eat a lot of those kinds of things. My bread is actually bread that comes from sprouted grains, so it has no yeast in it. And the sprouted grains are a lot better for you because they process differently in your gut than as opposed to one that isn't sprouted, which because those that aren't, it can cause you a lot more gas. For example, people who may eat wheat bread, they may notice that they have some gas or bloating behind it. That is oftentimes why. Sometimes it may be the gluten, other times it's just the wheat itself. But when you get it where it's sprouted, it goes to a different process. It doesn't cause the same effect. So I eat a lot of those types of things. How it has helped me health wise? As I said, with moving out the meat, my energy, I was already a high energetic person and I still am in case y'all couldn't tell. But my energy level went up more. My mental focus, acuity was much sharper. The sleep was so much better. Removing those from your diet, especially when you remove the beef. I removed the beef from my diet because when I learned about beef from studying, doing research, I said, "Ooh, Lord, I can't ever eat this stuff again." So, but it affected me that way. And I've always been, thank God, a healthy person. But when I removed those other things and those highly processed foods from my diet, I did notice that big of a difference. I've never been a person that really has skin problems, but even I could notice the difference with my skin. And people talked about, and even now they talk about how my skin glows. And a lot of that has to do with the way I eat and then what I drink, which is primarily water, alkaline water, that is.
Okay.
I think I answered all your questions that part.
Yeah, pretty much. That sounds like a pretty selective diet. Now, most of viewers know that I'm vegan, but I'm not nearly as strict as he is. But you see that there's some benefits to that lifestyle. I believe you shared with me that you avoided uh, risk factors, certain diagnoses from risk factors in the past. Was that Did that have something to do with the change in your lifestyle in eating?
Certain diet, me avoiding them?
Yes, you told me something some time ago about you went to the doctor and they tried to say you had something and
Oh,
wanted to.
no, that was a long time ago when he was trying to tell me that I had a heart murmur. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay,
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's back in the day when I used to do them for paid studies, clinical trials. Yeah, that he tried to tell me that I had that, but I knew that wasn't the case. I didn't even listen to that and receive that. And I told him, I said no. So when I went back, um, as I already knew, everything was fine. It was okay. But to even answer that question, you can not just avoid a lot of the health issues that may come along from eating a non-plant based diet. You can also reverse things that happen as a result of eating a plant based diet. And the person that comes to my mind, even with weight loss, I think I'm trying to think if she said she was borderline diabetic, and I'm not exactly sure, but I know Shaka Khan talked about she took herself off of meat, and in like 1 month when we saw her, she had a complete transformation. That's because she changed her diet, and so people who may have high blood pressure, people who may have diabetes, people who may be borderline diabetic, if you change not just your food diet, but even your mental aspect of what you ingest, a lot of those things can be reversed and or completely avoided.
okay, sounds
And
good.
and then I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sounds good. We're going to get into a little bit more in depth of
Okay.
how what we're eating impacts our health, as well as some things you're going to suggest, maybe herbs and minerals for people who have specific conditions who are watching this. So now, if you got specific conditions and you're watching us and you want to have a question about it, get your question together. When I get to the Q&A at the end, you can ask Andrew your question, and he's going to most likely give you some advice from an herbal perspective. And I also want to say this: Andrew does do uh, personal consultations. And yes, it is fee based because he has a wealth of knowledge. He's advised several people down through the years and helped them to improve their health, reverse certain physical maladies and conditions. And so, if you should ever want to, connect with him in that way, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll try to put his information up on the screen before we leave. Now, just a couple of days ago, I started sending you a picture, Andrew, of I, used to love beef, and of course, I still love beef and chicken. Haven't eaten them in years. Sometimes I'm missing certain foods, so I bought some Beyond Meat, uh, and I said to Mama, I said, "Can you make me a cube steak with that?" And Mama wore it out. She took that. I, went in the back and worked and meditated and drifted off to sleep and woke up and smelled something good. She made that gravy from scratch. It was laid out. It tastes just like beef. Okay, but it wasn't. It was plant-based meat. She did a thing with that. So tell us some of the side effects to beef. Start with beef. Maybe give some insight as to the processing procedures or processing, and then let's move into pork and talk a little bit about that in the same breath or in the same conversation. But let's start with beef. What of let me say this: a lot of nutritionists and people like that who are not on the plant-based train always tell people you need to eat a lot of meats, specifically beef, turkey, and chicken to get your protein. But they don't talk about any potential side effects to that. So tell us a little bit of what you discovered about beef, and then we're going to talk about pork. Pork, that pork, them pork ribs. Ain't nothing like them pork ribs. Ain't nothing like a pork chop.
And it's poking and chopping you.
But let's start with beef. Come on.
Okay, well, I don't know if they're really ready for the beef, but
Are y'all ready for the beef? Y'all ready for the beef? The meats?
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, one thing that I learned when I was doing my study and researching about beef is, in fact, I had an herbalist, an older herbalist at the time, back in like 2005, that was telling me beef was the harshest of all the meats. And she actually told me, she said, it's not sugar that causes diabetes. She said, it's meat. I said, what? She said, yes, because it's hard on your digestive system and your pancreas. I said, what? And so when your pancreas cannot properly produce the required amount of insulin for you, then you become insulin resistant and you go into a diabetic state. And I was like, this is very interesting. I never heard this before. So I went and I did research and I found out while there is a difference between kosher fed beef and just non-kosher fed beef, they both can have the same effect in after digestion, although the kosher is better simply because of the diet that the cow has. But when they kill the cow, specifically the non-kosher, they do not use what's the word? Sensitive practices when they kill it. So imagine having a butter knife and taking a butter knife and trying to cut on your hand to get a clean cut. You're not going to get a clean cut. First of all, the butter knife is not sharp enough to do that. So you have to put force and pressure behind it. And while it's doing that, you're going to feel all of that pain. Your endorphins, everything that is going to start to release because you're going to feel the pain. Imagine that same kind of thing happening when they kill the cows and they feel all of that pain. So their body and all the chemicals and things in their body starts to shoot out and it goes in their skin and it gets trapped in their skin because they're feeling and they're reacting to all of this. Even when they go to cure that meat, because it's a part now in their blood and in their skin, they can't get all of that out. So all of that is then transferred to us when we eat it. So really what you're doing is you're taking on, this word is overused, but I'm gonna use it anyway. You're taking on the cellular traumatic memory of that animal, and you're ingesting it yourself. So that trauma is going into your body. And when it gets into your body, it has the potential to cause other things to go wrong. And in my research, I also found out that with, as she said, beef is the harshest of the meats, because it actually can sit in your system for 7 days and rot before it ever comes out. And while it's there, it has the potential to set up all kinds of diseases, namely arthritic diseases in your body. Because while it's sitting there doing that and creating and causing inflammation, and you keep doing this, some people eat beef several times a day. Some people eat beef 5 days out of the week. And if this process is continuing to go on like that, that means you're never fully emptying yourself out. So whatever it's causing in that moment, it's a buildup. Now, will it take a while? Yes, it'll take a while, but it's actually uh, um, setting up the potential to cause sickness inside your body. Which also, if you think about the famous actor John Wayne, there are different articles when you read, or different accounts from different authors. When they did the autopsy, some say he had as much as 75 pounds of undigested waste in his colon, that big belly that we saw. It was a result of undigested waste. And usually that comes from people who eat excessive amounts of meat.
Mm. Wow.
Not always. Okay.
You're watching Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. A.G. Green. We've got the guest, herbalist and food life coach, Andrew Green, on with us today. I forgot to mention Andrew also has a degree in psychology. He's with us today, uh, dropping knowledge, sharing information about healthy choices, healthy selections in our meals. We're covering this topic because it's not enough to just shift spiritually. You've got to shift mentally in terms of what you eat, what you put in your body, and you've also got to shift physically. It should be in alignment with spirit, mind, and body, or spirit, soul, and body. So this is why we're having this program, and I'm glad that you tuned in and that you are learning. So tell us also some other. So back to beef for a minute. You said it can sit in your system for a week. Now, isn't beef considered, I guess, one of the most densest meats, and takes longer pretty much to digest than all other meats that you eat? Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a high quality. Well, it's a high protein meat. But again, if you eat the kosher, they have a completely different diet. Um,
Okay.
Such as with chickens who are free range, they have and the benefit of them having free range with the, even with the cows and the diet, is that when you are able to have exercise like that, the you actually are able to release more toxins out of your body. And even for humans, relating this to the animal with the cow, the best way to get rid of toxins out of your body is using the trampoline, because you're jumping up and down and you're using a whole lot of exercises. And you think about the cows when they're walking and they're running, they're not caged in. They're not stressed in that regard. So they have room to be able to run, freely. And the way that they're killed in a different way, to where they don't have time to be able to feel all of that trauma as the unkosher cow is. And I don't know about you, but I got enough trauma in my life. I've had enough in my life. I don't need to be taking on nobody else's, especially an animal, a wild animal at that. Be setting up disease and all that kind of foods.
Absolutely. So let's go back to the cola for a minute before we go to pork. You and I know a wonderful, highly educated, certified in many areas herbalist out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
We loved him dearly. I wonder if he's even still alive. I'm not gonna call his name on the air, but also he's not.
One
Okay.
of them, no, the other one is.
I'm talking about Frank, Elder Frank, Daddy's friend that we met. The one that
Yes.
helped me. Okay. Awesome
Yeah,
man.
he's still here.
And he was working with me years ago through some things one on one. And I've shared this information he shared with me to other people. And he was saying to me that, and it's going to sound kind of funny the way I say it, family, but he was saying to me, kind of describing what Andrew was describing about the late actor's stomach and the belly and all that. And he said to me, he said, "You see all that fat people have in their stomach, front part, around the sides and all that?" He said, "That ain't number doo doo. Ain't number boo boo." And he was basically saying it's waste.
Yeah.
Fat is waste and it has to be broken down. It's going to come out. He was sharing with me the different ways it leaves your body in order
Yeah.
for you to lose that weight. But it's if you're carrying weight in your belly, doctors say that is the worst place to carry it. Your risk factor for certain diseases go up. So, could you share with the audience a little bit that undigested meat of foods in your colon? What kind of diseases can spring forth from all of that? And believe it or not, pretty much every American or every person who doesn't have a good eating lifestyle has a lot of undigested, uh, food in their colon. That's why we have like colonics today. You ever go to these places? That's literally where they flush your colon out and all kinds of crap. I said it that you didn't even know was in you was going to come out. But stuff breeds and festers in your colon. So talk to us a little bit about that, Andrew. The deleterious effects it can have on us physically, having a bunch of undigested stuff in our colon.
You have to write that down. Did y'all hear that word? Deleterious. Deleterious effects. Yes, dictionary. Well, it can set up pretty much any kind of disease because remember, in your gut is where most of your immunity lies, your immune system lies. So if your gut is messed up or compromised, then it's not gonna your body is not gonna be able to fight and do what it's supposed to do. So you can end up with IBS, you heard about bowel syndrome, you can end up with colitis, you can end up with arthritis, and all of those itises are inflammation. That's what those are. It actually can cause bleeding because if constipation, because if you end up with any of those in constipation, then somewhere along the line you may even end up having some internal bleeding that happens, and then it can actually happen externally when you go to the bathroom. And that's when you really do have a problem. So the other thing that it can cause, some people may feel like something is going on with their memory. It can cause brain fog also with beef, having all of that sitting in your system like that. It can also affect your, I almost use the scientific word, your skin. It can affect that too, where people have problems with eczema, people have problems with other types of skin issues. Even this is for free. We talking about the beef and what's sitting in your colon. When you look at people and you see these dark spots, these dark marks, almost like they have a shadow on their face, that is a result of a person who is on the inside clogged. They're backed up and they need to do a detox because on the skin, on the face, there are different areas. There's another day on the face that will let you know when there are different problems and organs in your body that don't go well. That can go back to what we were just talking about, the problem that one of those beef can actually cause by just
Powerful,
sitting in your body.
powerful. So as he said, and if you research it yourself, there are several different kinds of diseases that will spring forth within your body just by having that undigested food that's sitting there days, sometimes weeks in people. It's accumulative. And so don't underestimate uh, what this can do to you. And many times, Andrew, because people are eating all these meats, but not enough fruits and vegetables, there's nothing to help evacuate it, to clean it out. So it's just sitting up in there. And that's what Franco Taylor told me years ago that, he said some people could counteract this if they ate something good with something bad they ate. But he's like, they just eating bad stuff. And that stuff accumulates, and before you know it, things get out of control. So let's go on to pork. I miss pork ribs. They're better than beef ribs. I miss pork sausage, although I do my vegan sausages and I'm still working on substitutes. But people love poke. We call it poke. They love poke. They love pork in this country and in this world. Tell us what you know about pork from the hog pen, from the pastures of the hog to the supermarket. Tell us what you know about pork, and of course the impact it also has negatively on health, especially people of color. Talk to us about that.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, pork, as well as we know, is one of the meats that has been, um, I almost said touted. One of the meats that we've heard in reference to high blood pressure. And I know what you said, especially with Black people, because we still have this quote unquote slave diet that a lot of us eat, not
Pause
realizing
right
that.
there. Everybody type in the comment section. I need to make sure y'all still with me. Type the two words he just said, slave diet. Type the two words, slave diet. Continue.
Because not realizing that, whew, Lord, I'm gonna have to say it, but let me say this first. Not realizing that we have access to other things. We don't have to have the mentality of I have to eat the leftovers. I have to eat the scraps of what is available. Because if you really stop and think about what is available, more than just that is available. And the truth is, we are just slaves to what we love, slaves to what we like, and that was something that you put in one of your books. I think it was Just the Way I Like It. Um, and it's true. We are slaves to the things that we like, and even as it pertains to eating. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes you cannot eat some of those things. It doesn't mean that. But the problem with most people is that, as our father used to say, you ain't got no stopping sense. And because you don't have any stopping sense, you eat yourself into sickness. you know. But pork, high blood pressure, is what it causes for many people. The other thing that most people don't know is now we know that a pig will eat anything, even though they're very intelligent creatures, they will eat anything, and any and everything they eat within a matter of a few hours becomes fat on their bodies. Any and everything. It doesn't take a long time for what they eat to become fat on their bodies. So whatever they're eating that's becoming fat on their bodies, they kill it, they cure it, they do all these kinds of things. They smoke it to make it taste real good for you. They can't get rid of all of that mess. And then you eat it. Then you had a nerve to want to turn around and keep on eating the dookie shoe. Chitlins. Now, again, if you want to eat those, you can do that, but you just need to watch how often you eat them and how much you eat it. Now, there are some people, if you having high blood pressure problems, then you need to stay away from that. You really don't need to eat it, especially if you just can't eat a little bit, because you may not, like Joanne. Joanne used to eat about, she said, all I need is this much. And she would smother it with hot sauce and mustard, and she'd be done. And that would be one time a year. That's fine. But then there are some people, they can't do that. They want to sit down and they want to eat 8 months in one setting, 8 months in one day, because they love so much. And then they tell themselves, well, it's just this one time a year that I'm doing it. But yeah, look how much you didn't eat though. That's what people need to be careful with. But it especially with we as Black people, and I have to say this because I vividly remember, it's been several people in conversations when I say this and talk about the meat and the pork, and well, I'm gonna keep on eating mine. It's good to me. Ooh, I'm telling you, and these people, these are the people right now. When I see them, they looking 20 and 15 years older than what they are because it has taken a toll on their body.
Okay, powerful, powerful. So we also know that pigs are omnivores, and they do eat anything. And as he's basically saying, then what they eat, and of course, all kinds of studies have been done on farms and different places where hogs are bred, seeing the things that they eat, pus coming out of their pores and skin,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so many other hideous things on these farms. And then, like he said, with the cows, same thing with pigs. Sometimes they're killed in an egregious way, and stress also gets trapped in their tissues and passed on to us because of the way that they're killed, aka murdered. So there'll be a lot of studies done on pork, and like you said, it can contribute to high blood pressure. High blood pressure, of course, all these things can evolve or be connected to heart disease. Anything else you want to say on pork before we move forward? Because we are educating people tonight. We're not trying to make you change the way you eat. We're just giving you information to make an informed decision. And he said something that he quoted from my father. My father used to always say, because he shifted into this space years before he transitioned, he used to always say, you can eat pretty much whatever you want if you eat it in moderation. It's when we do it excessively, we binge on it, and then our diet is so unbalanced until it doesn't have the other good things in it, to help us compensate for the trash that we put in. Anything else you want to comment on as it relates to pork?
Uh, no,
Okay, okay,
no, sir.
all right. So we've talked about beef, we've talked about pork, all right, and let's move into the area. Now we're coming up on our time, but we're going to spend a little extra time with Andrew. In case you're just coming on, you are watching Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. A.J. Green Sr. And tonight I have our guest herbalist on. We're talking from the subject to eat or not to eat. And Andrew Green is our guest herbalist. And so he is certified in terms of as a herbalist, a life coach, eating life coach, all these kinds of things. He does do personal consultations. And he's dropping knowledge on us about a lot of things that we did not know. We're passing it on to you because we're trying to shift. I want you to type it in the comment section. New mind equals a new year. Type it in the comment section. A new mind equals a new year. A new mind equals a new year. Now let's, Andrew, get into some remedies. And Andrew has a new cookbook out, vegan cookbook, that's entitled "So You Want to Be Vegan-ish." We're putting up the website as to where you can get it right underneath it. GetHealthyWithDrew.com. That's GetHealthyWithDrew.com. www.gethealthywithdrew.com. We'll be talking a little bit more about that later, but he's got a new book out. And I've asked all my supporters, those who love me, we want to buy a book tonight. It's incredibly, incredibly reasonably priced that everybody on here I'm speaking is going to be able to get that book. So a new mind, a new year. You can't have a new year without really having a new mind. You might have a chronological turning of the year, chronological changing of the year, but you can't have a new year without a new mind. Otherwise, it's only the chronological changing of a digit with an old mindset, which means you're going to manifest the same results as it relates to health. And I've said this, and we're going to move on to some natural remedies. I used to say when I had all these prayer lines that I've called over the last 30 years, and scores of people would jump up in that prayer line. And I used to encourage people that if you For example, if you're in here in the line for a malady and somehow, some way you get healed, don't go back to the way you used to eat, excuse me. Yeah, that was country. Don't go back to the way you used to eat. You got to change your lifestyle. And there's a lot of folk who wouldn't be in that prayer line if they were not eating themselves to death. And this is what gets me at these funerals. I'm going to get on my soapbox for a few minutes. This is what gets me at these funerals. Oh, why you take it? Oh, you just took him. You took him. You took him. You took him. And I'm sitting up here thinking, them chitlins took him. Them pork chops took them. Eating too much chicken, greasy foods took them. An overabundance of carbohydrates took them. You're blaming it on God when the person puts stuff in their bodies, even after the doctor told them not to put it in your body. All right. It manifested a disease and they died. So we can eat ourselves to life or to death. I'm going to say it again. We can eat ourselves to life or to death. Listen, we're going to get into remedies, but Andrew, aren't there some studies out there about cancer that says sugar feeds cancer? I've read that in different places. Have you read that anywhere before?
I have, and then let me say this since we're talking about this right now. I ain't your doctor. What I say here today is my research and my experience and opinion. Don't take anything I say here as medical advice. Go see your own healthcare practitioner. All right. See your own. Like I see mine, you go see yours. But yes, there are studies about that cancer feeds off sugar. And somebody told me several years ago who had a loved one that went to be treated for cancer, and they were told, well, they can have a little sugar. My thoughts about that is, if it's going to in any way make the cancer worse, I don't want any of it. I don't even want a granule of it. Yes, but and I'll say this, since you talk about sugars, there are better sugars to eat. We were talking about that earlier. And I list some of those sugars in my book as well, that are some of the healthier sugars to eat, because they don't negatively impact people who may be having diabetes, problems with diabetes. It's not going to raise your glucose levels. And one of them, for example, like xylitol, is very good because it does not promote tooth decay. So you have children who may want to have lollipops. You can actually get lollipops that's made from that. You can chew gum that is made from that because it does not promote tooth decay. But you don't hear these types of things on a broader scale. Even when you go to your physician, they're going to tell you to take sucralose, do aspartame, do Splenda, all of those things. They're all the same thing. They just have different names. And while we're here, can I tell you about a study as it pertains to aspartame?
Sure.
Which is actually Splenda. And now and people have gotten wiser. So what they do now, and it just infuriates me, they have these packages. Now you'll see Splenda and stevia that are both mixed together. Stevia, of course, is a natural plant. It's a natural sweetener, but Splenda is not. But if you look on the bag, I don't know if it still does, but it will say derived from sugar, which is also why now you have QR codes on bags, and they started this during the pandemic. Instead of listing out ingredients, because most people are not going to do their research and read. Some people will, but they got a QR code on there now. You have to scan the QR code to be able to see the complete list of ingredients, and to even see if it comes from a bioengineered product, which is, they used to say GMO, but now it's saying bioengineered product. That's what I wanted to come back to from about 20 minutes ago. You have to scan to see more information. But with the sugars, I think I was talking about the xylitol. Was I talking about the xylitol? Yeah, that's a better one because it won't actually promote tooth decay. It won't get crazy with your glycemic index levels. But I was talking about the study that I read about Splenda, which is now under the name, and it's been under the name for years, with aspartame. And I remember back in about 2010 or 11, the government actually put out, how do you say it? Is it upgrade when they give you a warning and it gets worse? They as it pertained to Splenda, they were telling people to use it with caution because, and I found this out years before that, there were studies done on mice. And people will often wonder why they do studies on mice. And it's because their DNA is closely related to humans. And so if something is going to affect a mouse or a rat, then more than likely the same effect will happen to us. Maybe not always, but it's more likely. So they did the study. Now I hope y'all ready for this. All of y'all people that's eating this Splenda and you love it, and the doctor said this, especially people who are diabetic, you're making yourself worse. Then you wonder why you're having problems with your memory. The study showed mice that were given Splenda and then mice that were not given Splenda. I believe it was at the end of 7 days, but they went to look at the two study groups. The mice that did not eat the Splenda were completely fine. The mice that ate the Splenda, which was aspartame, sucralose, had holes in their brains. And the reason they legally on the box or on the bag could say that it's derived from sugar is because one molecule of it is sugar. Everything else is chemically enhanced and built around the sugar.
It's powerful.
Don't sleep on that.
Yeah, we're just giving the facts. We're not telling anybody what to do or not to do. That's our disclaimer. We're putting out there. He's just dropping knowledge on the constitutive components of what Splenda really is. And he shared one alternative, xylitol. I used to use that, and I use agave now. That's my sweetener that I use. Go ahead.
And it's the same thing as far as artificial NutraSweet and artificial sweetener, equal and artificial sweetener. If it does not come from the ground, if it does not come from a plant, like a herbalist told me years ago, she said, "Have you ever seen a hot dog grow out the ground?" I bust out laughing. She said, "Have you ever seen a pink lemon on the tree?" I bust out laughing. I said, "No, I have not." She said, "Okay, then, all right."
Yeah, so, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so those sweeteners are artificial sweeteners. And like I said, that there are others that I have in my book, but I'll just go ahead and tell you. Monk fruit is another natural sweetener. You have agave, you have stevia.
Let him get the book.
Oh, okay.
Let him get the book. Okay. So he's already dropping some nuggets right there. And that's why we're going to get the book. Those of us here on this broadcast, we're supporters of each other, and we're going to get his book tonight and get the rest of the information. I want you to start forming your questions. I'm going to ask him 1 or 2 more questions because we're over time. And then I want you to put your question in the comment section about anything you want to ask Andrew before we get off here tonight. Andrew, there are a lot of people who are interested in losing weight. What suggestions would you give people, lifestyle as well as supplements, herbs, minerals, or whatever, that they can take to help accelerate weight loss for them? I know there's people watching me today, including myself, who have an interest in the subject.
Well, a lot of times people think weight loss is something hard, but really it's not. It first starts with your mental, with what you actually believe. If you tell yourself that it's going to be difficult, then yes, it's going to be difficult. It doesn't matter what you do or what you eat, you're going to hold on to it. If you go into it with the mindset that I'm just going to try it, but still somewhere in your mind, well, it's not going to really work, then you're going to struggle with it. That's the very first thing, first and foremost. You have to tell yourself and believe that is actually going to work. Even if you have to go back to that mirror work and tell yourself and speak to your body, that's the first thing you have to do. The second thing is, I remember, and Pastor JC probably remembers this, Back, I was in college, and I lost about 30 pounds in a month. And I did it not knowing then that I had a quote unquote scientific breakthrough, because it was years later when fitness experts, doctors that specialized in gut health and weight loss and that kind of thing, that started talking about this. I ate before 5 and not after 7. At that time, I lived with our grandmother who, making amazing meals. So I would I would eat my breakfast, and depends on how heavy my breakfast was or light it was, that I would determine how I ate for my other meals. And I was also active, which I'll come back to that. If I did not get to eat before 5, I made sure that I ate, before 7. If I didn't get to eat after 7, what I did was I only ate enough to kill the hunger. And most of the times it was popcorn. It was sunflower seeds. Those protein and fiber, which I wanted to say, as you were saying earlier about people who eat a lot of meat, incorporate fiber in your diet. So anyway, that's how I lost the weight, and I kept the weight off as a result of doing that. So that's the first thing. Your diet. You have to balance your diets. It's best to eat, if you can, between those hours of 5 and 7, which I didn't even know that was a thing. It just made sense to me to do it. It came
5
to
a.m.
me. What'd you say?
5 a.m. to 7
No,
p.m.
5 p.m. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh, you only ate between those 2 hours.
No, I ate my last meal before 5 and not after 7. Before
Okay.
5 p.m. and not after 7 p.m.
Okay.
Because after 7 p.m., your digestive system begins to slow down. That is, your metabolism begins to slow down. So when you eat your food after 7 o'clock, then that means that you're not burning off a lot of those calories. So then you start packing on weight, and you look up several days later and you be like, "Oh, these clothes is tight. They wasn't this tight before." You can gain 10 pounds in like 3 days and take 30 days to lose it. That's just the simple truth. So, and then it depends on what you eat, because everybody's body is different. But usually, if you don't eat your last meal after 7 and you incorporate some activity, it can be as simple as walking. I looked up the other day on an app that I have and sent it to one of our cousins. And I had done over 19,000 steps that day. And she said, "This is 9.8 miles that you did." I was like, I didn't even think about that. Almost 10 miles that I did. Well, I don't expect you to do that much. You can start off with a little bit, and honestly, 3,000 steps a day is nothing when you think about how you don't really think about how much you walk. But if you have one of those pacers or those step counters, or, the apps on the phone, you look up and you'll see how many you've done. You can start small and increase, but activity actually helps you to lose weight because it burns fat, it gets your metabolism going, and it's also good for your mind. If your mind is in a good space, then your body is going to naturally follow.
So any super supplements, any super things in nature people can use to speed up their metabolic functions or anything like that to accelerate that part.
Yeah, there are things that people can do. One thing I suggest too for some people when they try to lose weight is to do a cleanse, because like a colon cleanse, because sometimes people are impacted and they need a process to help them going, and then to incorporate fiber into their diet. I meant to ask you something about too late now, but they can incorporate fiber also into their diet. There's a really good, I think, do I have one? Yeah, I do have one, I think. But there's also a good product called the Cleaner. They have one for men and they have one for women. It's really good. It's not going to run you off to the bathroom, so you don't have to feel like if you're a person who works out in public, you don't have to feel like that you got to keep one foot close to the bathroom door. You don't have to do that. It works gently, and so it doesn't sneak up on you in that regard. That actually, excuse me, actually helps you to lose weight. Even other supplements. Yes, there's soursop. Soursop is another supplement that can actually help you to lose weight because it will do a detox to help clean out your colon. Plus, it has other benefits health wise. Senna or senna leaf is a natural laxative, which will actually clean you out as well and help you to lose weight. Because a lot of this goes back to, as you said earlier, with what's hanging on in the gut. And then you will find out that when you start getting rid of when you start doing the cleanses and getting rid of those things, that some of your other health issues that you have will start to move away. People are having problems with their back, with their, backs and joint pain, knee pain, elbow pain. A lot of that will go away too, because when you get rid of that other stuff, you're also helping your body to start healing and getting rid of inflammation. So those are just, there are other things. Those are just a few things, along with eating fruit, incorporating fruit into your diet. That will also help you as well.
So, from what he mentioned earlier, it sounds like he's talking about intermittent fasting in terms of lifestyle. They didn't call it that, I don't think, back then. That's basically when you have gaps between in the time that you eat and don't eat. Some are 12 hours, the span of time. Some are 14, some are 16. He didn't eat anything after 7 unless it was nutritional until the next morning.
That would be a ketogenic diet.
So
When
what you
you,
were doing was a ketogenic.
yeah, that would be a ketogenic diet. When you go to that, like that 12-hour window and you don't eat, yeah, that's a form of fasting. Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes
Okay.
I will go past that. And sometimes I do that even now. I do that.
Okay. Great. All right, family. Form your questions real quickly. I could ask some more things. We'll just have to have him on. Is there a condition you want Andrew to make a suggestion to you about from a natural perspective of some things you can take, or is there a question about a particular food item, whatever? Let's get it in the comment section. We'll take one or two. And while we're doing that, to eat or not to eat, you are watching Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. A.G. Green. We got guest herbalist Andrew Green on with us, certified herbalist. He also is the author of a wonderful, wonderful new book, So You Want to Be Veganish. It's got great recipes in there, as well as suggestions for different things, different types of sugars, of course. Again, recipes that are vegan based to add to your repertoire. Some people do the Daniel fast, others are toying with making a lifestyle change. This is a good book to start with, family. It only costs $7.77. That's right, $7.77. And I want all those who say they love me and got that in your checking account. I want you to go there, gethealthywithdrew.com. When we get off here, before we get off, some who buy it before we get off, let us know you purchased it. We want to be a blessing to Andrew. All right, now, family, what are your questions? Do you have a question about a condition, that kind of thing? Let me put them back up on the screen. I keep making this mistake. Sorry, let me see. Let's go back to this one. That you want to ask Andrew. We got our first question. Uh, got our first question here, Andrew. Your thoughts about bone broth and foods that assist with sleep. I currently take garlic at nighttime. Garlic at nighttime. What are your suggestions?
Um, Bone broth. This is something that I learned from an Asian doctor several years ago. And since I've heard more about it and you hear more about it in reading, bone broth um, is really good for your bones and for your joints, especially because Vietnamese people are the ones, from my understanding, who have the best, because it actually goes through a very long and slow process to get all it goes through a very long and slow process to get all of the nutrients out of the bone and out of the marrow. Um, and the beef is the best of them all if you're going to be using it for the health of your skeletal system. Um, and as far as sleep, um,
He said he used garlic at night.
she does use, yeah, I know she said that, but the thing that came to me, it just, bam, just hit me. You have to manage your stress level. because if you have stressors in your life, things that you do have control over, especially, you have to manage those, because if you don't manage those, it's going to be harder for you to go to sleep at night. You're going to be wound really tight. But one thing that actually can help with that is magnesium. There's magnesium, there's slippery M, there's melatonin, which I think people overuse melatonin a whole lot. But magnesium is a very necessary mineral that's responsible for over 300 enzymatic processes in your body. So you using magnesium, taking that at night, it actually will actually help you to sleep and to rest very well. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that question, Pastor Cotton. Linda Nelson is asking about acid reflux, Andrew. What do you recommend for acid reflux? Reflux.
Well, that's a very good question. One of the first things is you have to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. That's the first thing. Another thing that I learned from one of my holistic specialists, this has been about almost 15 years ago, when she told me, she said most people who have acid reflux, because I was having that problem, and my sister said to me, "Why are you having problems with acid reflux with all the water you drink?" Well, when I switched the type of water, it made a big difference. But the other thing before I switched it that made a difference was food enzymes, food grade enzymes. Because what the my other specialist told me, she said the problem that most people have with indigestion and acid reflux is because most people do not digest proteins very well. So if you're a meat eater, you're eating a lot of meat, then more than likely that's going to be the problem, that the source of your acid reflux. So you need to have a food enzyme that has papaya enzymes are really good. Nature Sunshine has a very good food enzyme. Um, I don't know. Was that Linda Nelson? I don't know where you live. Whole Foods has them. Sprouts has them. A lot. D Herbs. Those you can go on dherbs.com. That's the letter D, HERB as in boy S.com. He has food grade enzymes, because they actually help to break down the proteins in the meat and some of the other things in there that may be contributing to that. Another thing that helps is if you take like 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and mix it in about 8 ounces of water and drink that. Because what people think is that you have too much acid, but the truth is, when you have acid reflux, you don't have enough acid in your body. So I believe it's a sphincter valve that actually is being triggered, and it's causing the burn that you feel. So again, drinking plenty of water and taking food grade enzymes, and one that preferably has papaya in it, because it's the bromelain in the papaya that actually, with the proteins and the other things in there, that's actually going to be beneficial for you.
And I believe bromelain is also in pineapple, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. One more question. Any more questions? We've got the website up on the screen. The wonderful cookbook that Andrew has authored, and he's also got some health tips in there for you. So you want to be veganish, you want to add to your repertoire or vegan meals, then I want to encourage you to get that book. Now, both people who asked the questions are saying thank you, Andrew, and
You're welcome.
thank you for coming on tonight. And we celebrate and salute you. Let's see here.
And
Look at
I
here.
wanted to,
Said I
I wanted to
just
say,
Pastor Jerry said I just purchased a book. I'm sponsoring 2 books for the audience. So this is how we do it over here. 2 books for the audience. Okay, so that means we had to figure out you want them to contact you, Pastor Jerry, to get those 2 books. Let us know how you want to do it. Who else on here tonight is going to who wants those 2 books? That's number 1. Number 2, who's going to help support Andrew by buying a book? Okay. Let's see. He said he just sent me a cash app. Okay. So I need to know those 2 names of people who want the book, real quickly, if you want the book and maybe you don't have the finances, that's how I'm going to say that. Because everybody that can, I want you to make this investment in your health and make this investment in Andrew. Again, it is a cookbook with recipes in it. This is his first venture. The next one will be bigger. He's also got some nuggets in there on things you can, use and not use. Elaborate a little bit on the book, Andrew. I'm sorry. Share a little bit about what's in the book besides recipes. Start with the recipes and then share a little bit more with the people about what's in this book.
Okay. And before I do that, and thank you again, JC, I appreciate that. I wanted to say also to Linda Nelson, if you're still having problems with that, then you may want to look into doing a colon cleanse as well. And if none of those things don't help you, which most of the time they will, try to drink alkaline water. You can go, I don't know where you live, but you can go into a Whole Food store or to an herbal shop or something like that and get it, because a lot of times that will help you. If it still doesn't go away and you've cut down on your meats, and give it 30 days. If you still don't experience a change, then you need to go to a healthcare professional because you have something deeper going on. As it pertains to vegan coaching one-on-one.
That's about the
One time.
consultation fee. He said he desired vegan coaching once a week for 30 days. Okay. He's
I
asking
charge.
about what the consultation.
You want me to say this on the air? I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, say it on the air. Go ahead.
I charge $100 an hour.
Okay, $100 an hour is his fee.
Mm-hmm.
It's well worth it. It'll keep you out the hospital. It'll keep you from spending money on medical bills to the tunes of the thousands if we just change the way we eat. Linda wants you to know she's in Memphis, Tennessee. Go ahead.
Oh yes, yeah. You have access to it. You definitely have access to it. What's the name of that place? There is a place down there. I have an alkaline water machine. I'm going to find out the place, and Linda Nelson, I'm going to inbox you because there's a place there.
I want y'all to know that Elder Christian Harris is a close friend of Andrew's, and he's messing with Andrew by asking him to come eat pickled pig feet and pitlets on purpose, family. I just want y'all to know that they are good friends, like brothers. Okay, well, Andrew ain't gonna eat none of that. He already knows that. So we just talked about that poke before you came on, Christian. Just talked about it. All right. And I'm going to elaborate again for those who want this consultation, just like I encourage you to see our resident therapist who's a part of our staff now. Andrew also. Listen, this $100, if you just did it once a month or once every other month or once a year, it is worth it if you take the advice, family, and change your lifestyle. High blood pressure, sugar, diabetes, all this stuff would leave. Edema, this, accumulation of swelling in your body, and like he's saying, poor digestion, can't sleep at night, all this other kind of stuff, sexual issues, hormonal imbalances, all kinds of stuff is rectified with good eating, with a better lifestyle of nutrition and fitness. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to interject that for you. All right. So now Hillary wants one of the free books. I got her listed. Is there anybody else? Resident therapist Jerry Cotton is sponsoring 2 people tonight with a book. He's bought a book and he's sponsoring 2, but there are others who are on here who don't need the sponsorship. Who is getting the book tonight? Now, look like I saw Linda, were you buying the book or did you want to be one of the people sponsored? Who else? My goal is to buy is for us to have at least 10 books purchased from Andrew tonight. I'm buying one. I just didn't want to buy it while I was online tonight, and I want to download it to my laptop instead of my phone. So I'm going to buy one. Our resident therapist Jerry has already bought one. That's already bought 3. I'm sorry. So that's Jerry plus 3. That's Jerry plus 2 equals 3. That's me. Plus 1, that equals a total of 4. We need 6 more to make it 10 tonight. And listen, if you don't get it tonight and you don't get paid until a couple of days from now next week, still count yourself in the number. We want to get this book cookbook into the hands of as many people as possible. Now, I'm sorry, brother, my brother. Elaborate on the book again. What's in it? How the people can benefit from it, and then we're going to shut it down.
Oh well, and I was saying to Linda Nelson, there's a place in Memphis where you can actually go over and get this water from this machine that I have. I have a Kangen water machine, which is the best on the market, and I'll send you that information. But as far as this book, as it says, it's easy recipes, and it's for the new and curious vegan, is what it is. And when I specifically did recipes that people know and love, greens, but most people don't know that you can actually eat greens and they don't have to have meat in them. And it's not the meat per se that you're missing, it's the flavor that you want. And you may be a texture person, and there are other ways to answer a question that Hillary asked earlier about steak, lion's mane mushroom. I just put that out there and keep it moving. But I put things like greens in there. I have beans. You can use the same recipe can be used for white beans, pinto beans, black beans. You can use the same thing even with lentils. I have a recipe in there for taco salad, which I absolutely love. Taco salad. That's one of my favorite dishes. I actually posted it online. So let me just go ahead and show you one right now. Can you all see this? Let me see.
Let me put the screen only on you right quick. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, we can't see this blurry. Back it up
Okay.
a little. Back it up just a little. Yeah, the light when you get closer is too close to it. It's
Okay.
blurry.
Well, I was trying to show it to you, but taco salads are one of my favorite dishes. I have that in there. I have some little side dishes in there too to go along with it. Like with taco salad, you may be a person that likes guacamole. You may be a person that does not like guacamole. But I have a recipe in there of how to make guacamole. Um, I have a meatless penne pasta, which is what you see right there on the screen. That you can make. That's absolutely delicious. I also have a recipe for it's called Accidentally Ranch because I happenstanced upon it. Um, and thank you, Krista. And then what else did I put in there? Uh, Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to go look myself because what I did was I did enough to where you could have something different for every day of the week, and then you can mix them up. Like the beans, you may do white beans one week and a day, and eat that for a few days, and then you can switch over to another type of bean that you may want to use. And I even I think I may have put one in there about the rice or brown rice. Let me see what else. I'm trying to think of the other ones that I have in there. Okay. Uh, I have the meatless penne pasta, as I already mentioned. It's called Simple but Delicious Black Eyed Peas. That's the one that I put in there. And you'll see the picture when you look at it. It looks absolutely delicious. And I like to mix it sometimes. The picture that you see is mixed with greens, and it has onions, and it also has chow chow there with it. The other thing I want to say, and I put a vegan rotel. Those are things that you can have for like party dishes or even as an actual meal, especially if you're a person who likes to entertain and or you are a person who has children. Children love those types of meals. So, you can make something like that for them. I have one that's called Happy Mixed Salad. There are different things that you can do with salads. I'm going to do another book for the spring, and it's going to strictly be salads, just salads, because salads are so fun. And as I said, you have the one that I did with the green beans. I also have a cheese sauce recipe in there. I said guacamole. I said accidentally ranch. I also have a cheese sauce recipe. You can use that as a dip, or you can use it to go over, whatever kind of dish you have, like with the taco salad. You may want to, instead of using shredded cheese, you may want to use the melted cheese. So I have a recipe in there for that also. So these are recipes, and I didn't do anything exotic because I was thinking, what should I do? And that's just what came to me. Do the foods that people know and love, that they are accustomed to, but just in the vegan way. And I've had people that have eaten it, and this is not me, bragging to my own horn, but everybody that eats it has said, these are people who are meat eaters that absolutely love it. I even had people to say that it tastes like it has meat in it. How do you do this? How do you make your food like this? So you in for people who may not know how to cook, and um, don't really know their way around the kitchen, this would be for you. People who do cook, but you still may not know how to make that change. I have all the actual ingredients, the ones that I actually like, or prefer. I have other options in there that you can use as far as being able to go and get those particular ingredients so that you can have an enjoyable meal. These are things you can cook with your friends. You can use them with your neighbors. Have a vegan day cookover.
Awesome, awesome. One explanation, and then you mentioned some good sugar alternatives. I'm sorry, to sugar in there, and some other kind of. Um,
Milk.
he talks like with milk and other things that you could use as an alternative. We didn't even get into cow's milk. There's so many things. That's why we're going to have Andrew back. And also, I want you to understand that Andrew is going to be one of our content creators in Patreon. All right. So that's going to be, he'll have his own segment, but you got to be a member of Patreon to be able to see it, where he might take 30 minutes and just cover different subjects a few times a month to help you get healthier. All right. So I'm invested in helping you shift into a new mindset so that you can have a new you in a new year. All right. So my audience, I'm encouraging you to get it. My brother Brian White is on. Brian, man, it's good to see you. Uh, man, I text you my new number weeks ago. Did you get my new number? This is my brother from another mother out of Houston, Texas. Brian says, I'm going to gift the book to you. So I guess, Brian, you're going to send me the money and I can give the book to somebody else. Is that what you're saying, Brian? Just let me know for clarity's sake. It's good to see you on, my brother. I was wondering if you have received my information or not, but let me know. I want to have some clarity on the book thing. So far, we're up to, I'm doing like they do in church. We're up to 5 sales with Krista. We're up to 5, maybe 6 if Brian is gifting the book. We need 4 more to round out this 10. 4 more to round out this 10 that we are going to sow into Andrew's life and sow into ourselves. This is beneficial. This is a relational transaction. That's what I'm going to call it, a relational transaction. If you take what you heard in this broadcast tonight and some of the things you read in the book and apply it, your health is going to get better. Now, I didn't have a chance to get into it tonight. We're over time, family. But believe it or not, there is a connection between clean eating and spirituality. I didn't even get into that tonight. All right. There's a reason why when people change their lifestyles and start losing weight and change their lifestyles and start putting live stuff in their bodies, even when people fast, there is a psychological, there are studies out there that show you that people start having high level spiritual experiences. And you're probably wondering why. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't have an opportunity or the time to get into it tonight. Maybe I'll talk about it on Patreon, but there is definitely a connection. Okay. So anybody else, before we get off here, we're up to 5 out of 10, maybe 6 with my brother Brian, who's going to gift this book, who's going to get this book. And if you can't get it tonight and you're going to get it another day, excuse me, let me know so I'll know what the count is. And I want you to start applying these recipes. Okay. Let's see. All right, absolutely. So he says he's going to gift the book. Awesome, 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 awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. He's going to gift the book. Let's see. Okay, excellent, excellent. So I appreciate you all being on tonight. Thank you for your questions. Andrew covered a lot. High blood pressure, different things like that, different meats we kind of want to be cautious of. Just a whole plethora of information that he addressed tonight, and he will be back on this uh, channel, social media channel, and also doing a lot of content for us on the Patreon platform. All right. So Brian said, my brother Brian said, there's two for him. Awesome. Thank you, brother. That's two for him. So that means we are up to 7 books. We're up to 7 books. All right. We just need 3 more, and I'm going to close this out. But when we get off the air, if you didn't make a decision on the air, you got time to do it. Inbox me here at AG Green now and let me know that you decided to buy. I just want to make sure we get that number 10, and we are standing firm, even though I said 7, that there are 10 that are sold tonight. Okay, and we're standing firm that this is going to be a blessing, not just for Andrew, but for you to know how to make these things from scratch. I am a vegan and I don't know how to make a lot of stuff from scratch. This is wonderful to have this in your possession. And for those who like to cook and try new things and have an adventurous palate, ooh, this is a wonderful journey you're about to take in being able to take these elements, food elements from scratch and make a wonderful plant-based meal that your body is going to love. All right. And don't be surprised if you eliminate or go to the bathroom more because this is all natural stuff. It should make you go. And we didn't even get a chance to get into that tonight. How many times or how much people should go to the bathroom? I was told by an herbalist years ago, you should go for every meal you eat in the day. You should go. So if you eat 3 times a day, you should really go 3 times a day. When I first heard that, I was shocked because I don't go no 3 times a day. Guess who on here tonight, Andrew? Geraldine Mason. Do you remember? Yeah, Geraldine Mason. She said the Cash App. Okay, she want to make a purchase. Did she say 10? Wait a minute, are you saying 10? Or are you saying 3 to make it 10? Okay, guess what? Good gracious. Okay. Did you say, are you saying 10, Miss Geraldine? Geraldine used to attend our church, my father's church in Sikeston, Missouri, Green Wall, Church of God in Christ. Wonderful woman of God. Good to see you on, Geraldine, and her husband. Great people. Wonderful family. I know her kids
Wow.
grown by now.
See, them been years.
Lord have mercy, 15, 20 years. Geraldine, you trying to purchase 10? Is that what you want to do? Let me know right quick. The Cash App, my brother, let me put the Cash App up. Uh, Good gracious. Let me go to here, put the Cash
I,
App. I'm in the wrong.
I wanted to say something else too while you're doing that.
Okay. This is the Cash App. You can use AG Green Enterprises or AG Green, either Cash App. I will get it and apply every dollar toward the books, sponsorship of the books. So, my goodness. Let me see what Geraldine's saying. Okay, she want to make 3 to make it 10. Thank you. 3 to make it 10. Thank you so much. Come on. Let's celebrate, everybody. Come on, celebrate in the comment section. Let's celebrate. Thank you, Miss
Around the
Geraldine.
bush.
3, and we're gonna make it out to 10 tonight. 3 will make it 10. Geraldine, do you
Thank you.
want one of those books? And I'll know to give the other 2 away. Just let me know because we're gonna have to get it emailed to you, most likely in a zip file. We'll see. I'll work that out with Andrew. All right. If there's anybody else who's watching me tonight and you could not afford a book, I already have 2 names. Okay. You could not afford a book. Let me know. Let us know tonight. We're going to get these books to you. So essentially, my brother Brian has upped it, Andrew, to 5 books. He was going to do 2. He's not doing 5. He's not doing 5. So let me add his 5. Let's see. Let's see here.
I got tears in my eyes. Woo.
And now we're up to look like 13. I think that's 13 total. I believe I added that up. 3, 4, let's see, 3, 2, 5. Let me do that. Yeah. Look like we're up to 13. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, she wants me to give them all away. All right. Well, we're gonna find. I'll find some people to give. Look like we got a total of 8 books. Well, with Pastor Cotton's, I'm sorry. That's a 10 books to give away. 10 books to give away. All right. I will find some people to give those books to people who really need them and desire. All right. Thank y'all so much for your support. And you see the cash up on the screen tonight. We're supporting Andrew as I did last week with our therapist, Jerry Cotton. We're not asking for no offerings for me or for this platform with the guest on. I want to be a blessing to them. And you all have done that. Y'all some awesome people. Show love. Come on now, let's celebrate it in the comment section real quickly. And I also want you to show love to Andrew for taking his time out of his schedule to educate us and share his new wonderful book with the world. All right, let's show Andrew some love. And again, I love y'all, appreciate you, and celebrate you. Last words, Andrew, and we're going to release everybody tonight, but I'm going to put it up. You got some I love yous coming in the comment section. Anybody else want to share your wonderful sentiments before we get off here tonight? And let me repeat myself again. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, Pastor Cotton. Thank you, Brian White. Thank you, Krista, and others who have made purchases. All right. Brother Brian says his Cash App has been sent, and we're going to make sure that those free books get handed out to the right people. Andrew, any last words, parting words before we go?
Yes, the thing I want people to realize, and this information is out there for you from me. Um, I didn't do this for you to count calories. I didn't even put the calories of the meals because I have learned that when you just have appreciation for gratitude for what you're eating, gratitude works its own individual magic. So just enjoy your food. And when you enjoy your food, then everything else is going to follow appropriately. Um, I have tears in my eyes right now that are wiped out, or I'm so grateful because this was a long time coming. Maybe I'll talk about that on another one. But it was just a long time coming. It could have been out before it was, but I was the holdup. So I'm thankful for everyone who came on here tonight to listen to what I have to offer, which is one of my passions with health. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your concern. And the thing that I want to leave you with is you are in charge of your health. You are in charge of what happens with you and your body. Nobody else. Even when you go to the doctor only knows what's going on because you've told the doctor what's going on. So it starts with you. It starts in your mind, and then it follows with what you choose to put into your body and what you choose to take in mentally. You can do this. You don't have to be vegan like me. Maybe every now and then you want to go, 2 days a week and eating vegan foods. Hey, go ahead and do it. It's the little things that you do that make a world of difference.
Thank you, Andrew. Love you, appreciate you dearly, and love you, my family. Shalom, shalom, peace, wholeness, and prosperity, nothing missing and nothing broken. I'll see many of you in a couple of days. Thank you for supporting Spiritual Awakening with yours truly, Dr. A.G. Green.